Day 5, day 15, day 50? What day of the campaign is it? We're in the midst of our federal election campaign. Let's talk about the latest with Antonine Yaccarini, political analyst, PR expert, and a former PQ and CAQ staffer. Antonine, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Day 5, campaign trail. Let's start off with the front runner. You look at the polling, he's the front runner. Let's start off with Mark Carney, okay? Liberal leader Mark Carney. The start of his campaign, several mistakes. I've gotten into it. Some people in English Canada who think, oh, no big deal, the stuff that's happened in Quebec, and I've had to push back. Even Anglos in Quebec where I've had to push back on this. Why don't you tell me from your perspective about Mark Carney's the start to his campaign, and if things shifted yesterday, of course, with his response on Donald Trump?
It's a difficult start in Quebec because I'm not sure in Ontario they are really aware right now of what's going on in Quebec. But if you look at the polls, things are going okay for Mark Carney, still ahead by a few points. So it looks good from a polling perspective. But Mark Carney is accumulating missteps. I have a long list. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I want to hear them
Okay.
in case I missed any.
Okay, so mistake number 1. Even before the campaign launched, Mr. Carney excluded a number of Quebecois ministers from his cabinet, and he has not appointed the minister responsible for official languages. So that raised questions, but hey, it's a war cabinet, so we kind of forgave that. Yeah. But mistake number 2, you've probably seen the English-only commercial with Mike Myers, with
yes.
no reference to Quebec whatsoever, no French versions of this ad. I have to say, I think it's a very good ad. It's very funny, it's very clever, but zero reference to Quebec, really? Mm-hmm. That's rude. It would have been really easy to include something. The joke about Toronto's 2 seasons, winter and construction, it could have applied to Montreal.
Of course.
But no one bothered to think of something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mistake number 3, refusing the TVA debate.
Yep.
Honestly, this could been justified because it's kind of weird and new that we have to pay to participate into a debate. We get that. But we also got the feeling that this was not the real reason why Mr. Carney was not going in this debate. And it felt like he wasn't honest with us about that. First, he said that it was about the fee, but afterwards, during a press conference, he claimed that it was because the Green Party was not invited.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but I don't see why the Green Party should be invited at the TVA debate. They have no MP in Quebec. The TVA debate is really, really for Quebec voters. It's not really watched in the rest of Canada.
It comes down to just the messaging, right? Because if you just said from the start, as soon as, hey, paying for media debates is a non-starter, the Liberal Party, our conviction is we won't do it, that would have nipped it in the bud. But it seemed like there were like 3 or 4 different arguments, depending on who you talk to in Liberal land and from Mark Carney.
I agree with you. I heard Mélanie Joly. She talked about the debate, and her communication line was pretty on point. She said, "Am I going to pay to have interviews in TVA from now on?" So that's the way he answered to the questions. That was not okay from my perspective. Uh-huh. Mistake number 4: he called the Polytechnic shooting the Concordia shooting. And he renamed his candidate, Nathalie Pronovo. It happens. It's a mistake. We can understand that. But, of course, this is unfortunate. Mistake number 5, he kind of lied about Sean Fraser running again during a press conference. That was weird, too. So, this election is really about trust. Who do you trust the most to get the economy back on track, to stand up to Donald Trump? So he really should pay attention to that because
but if that's it, right? If it's all about Donald Trump, does all of those things, things you outlined, do they even matter?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, but if the voters get the feeling that Mr. Carney is not honest, is not genuine, that can, trust can be broken really, really easily. Mistake number 6: he lost his temper during a press conference yesterday. when a journalist asked him with insistence about when Mr. Carney was going to have a call with Donald Trump. He said in French, "Ça suffit," which can be translated by enough.
I know. I saw. Yeah.
On day 4.
Yeah, I saw that. And the journalist was just trying to get him down to make a definitive statement on when he would talk to Trump.
Absolutely. It's a legitimate question, right?
Yeah. So, okay, so it's not bad. These are bad looks, okay? The question is, do they add enough to damage? And I'll ask you this, Antonine, before we move on to other candidates here. I've heard a lot of people saying, you know what, in Quebec, Francophones, his French really actually is good enough. Like, I know we can knock his French time again, but at the end of the day, it's good enough. He comes across as someone that is authoritative, and it will be good enough. I guess that's my question for you. Despite all of these faults, all of these gaffes, is he still good enough?
You know, Quebecers are really ready to forgive any Anglophone trying to speak French for, little mistakes, hesitations. We don't care about that. What we want to feel is that someone is truly interested into our culture, history, on the issues, that our priorities. And right now, we have doubts. We don't know Mark Carney really well. We don't know where he stands on a number of issues. So, it's a yellow flag right now, not a red flag, but a yellow flag for Mr. Carney. And I'm wondering, did Donald Trump yesterday kind of saved Mark Carney because he announced 25% tariffs on car imports? And this announcement really gives Mark Carney an opportunity to pause the campaign. Yeah. Kind of maybe make a reset, get back to Ottawa for a Canada-U.S. committee meeting, have a break, play his prime minister role, which Mr. Carney seems to prefer over his campaigner role. So maybe we'll see. Maybe the rest of the campaign will be better.
Antonine, let's talk about Pierre Poilievre here, because Pierre Poilievre was in Quebec City last night. He had 800 people show up, so there's some enthusiasm there. And he released his Quebec-specific platform. Others have tried this in the Conservatives. Aaron O'Toole, Andrew Scheer have tried a Quebec-specific platform. Didn't necessarily work for them. Third time's the charm?
I don't know, because right now, in election after election, Conservatives struggle to get more than a few ridings in Quebec for a number of reasons. But this platform is interesting, and Mr. Poilievre has good assets in this platform. I'm thinking about immigration. He wants to keep out of Quebec's jurisdictions in general, but also wants to give more powers in immigration. François Legault has been asking for more powers in immigration for a long time now. Mr. Trudeau was really, really close to the idea. And Mr. Poilievre plans to cut the temporary immigration in half. So that's something that could be very popular in Quebec regions. In this platform, the Conservatives also promised to keep Radio-Canada untouched, to maintain health transfers, to finance the Third Link project in Quebec City, but not a cent for the tramway project, which the Liberals confirmed the financing for in the last few days. Just a little word about the speech itself that Mr. Poilievre gave yesterday. He really surprised me, I have to say. It was a very fun speech, full of jokes, anecdotes, Quebec references, which is very different from what Mr. Carney has given us since the beginning of that campaign. He talked about his father, the importance of French in his childhood. He talked about when he studied in Saguenay. It was a very personal speech, and it's also a political tactic to be different for Mr. Carney.
And 50 minutes just in French. I think he did one sentence in English, right? I mean, it was pretty much entirely in French.
Absolutely.
Which was another thing there. Okay, so listen, Antonine, I got to leave it there. Come back real soon, okay? We'll break down some more stuff on the campaign trail.
Yes, of course. Bye.
That's political analyst Antonine Yaccarini.